Well, here's a good mixed review of solving equations. With this one, the first thing to do is get rid of this 2 so we can isolate the radical. So square root of x minus 1 stays on the left-hand side. When you subtract 2 from both sides, the right side would have a 4. Next, square both sides. So x minus 1 is on the left-hand side with the square and the square root canceling each other out, and then it would be a 16. Next, add 1 to both sides, and we've got x is equal to 17. But when you do this process, which is correct and allowed and lawful, it does sometimes give you a solution that's not correct. It could be that this thing right here has no solution, and yet we got the answer 17. So you just need to double check it, make sure that it works. The square root of 17 minus 1, so substitute our answer 17 in there for x, plus a 2, does that equal a 6? Well, this would be the square root of 16 plus 2. So that would be 4 plus 2. Does it equal 6? Yes, it does work. Okay, so the 17 is a keeper. Over here, we're solving for an exponent. In order to do that, you have to use logarithms. So the first thing to do is we need to isolate the base, or in other words, get rid of this 10. So start by dividing both sides by 10, and we'd have 2.25 raised to the 2x is equal to 10 on the right-hand side. Then what we can do is take log of both sides. You can use whichever logarithm you want. I'm going to use natural log. And the reason for doing this is there's a rule from logarithms that say this 2x exponent, you could bring it down in front and multiply. And then on the left-hand side, in order to solve for x, all you need to do is divide by both sides by 2 to get rid of this 2, and divide by the natural log of 2.25 on both sides. Then on the left-hand side there will be only x, and on the right-hand side there will be the decimal answer of natural log of 10 gets divided by, and then the denominator should be put in parentheses because it's got a 2 in it, and it's got a natural log of 2.25 in it. Then close the parentheses twice. There we go, 1.420. For this one, I would start by factoring. This is x plus 1 times x minus 1. Then multiply both sides of the equation by the least common denominator. Well, the least common denominator is going to have an x in it because of this, and then it's going to have x minus 1 and x plus 1. And now multiply it through, or multiply both sides by that least common denominator. So when we multiply x and x plus 1 and x minus 1, an x and x plus 1 and an x minus 1, an x and x plus 1 and an x minus 1, and the right side too, x, x plus 1, and x minus 1. For a while it definitely does look like a bit of a mess, but a lot of stuff's going to cancel now. On this very first term, x will cancel x, and it leaves just x plus 1 times x minus 1. I said the words, but I didn't write a minus. This is x plus 1 times x minus 1. So when I multiply that out, what's left is x squared minus 1. On this one, x minus 1 will cancel x minus 1. What's left is a 2x that can be distributed to the x plus 1. So that would be plus 2x squared and plus 2x times a positive 1. All right, next, x plus 1 and x minus 1 will cancel x plus 1 and x minus 1, and all that's left right here is a positive 4x. So plus a 4x, and then the right-hand side is totally easy because it's 0 times something, so that's 0. Then combine like terms. So we've got 2x squared and x squared is 3x squared. In the middle would be plus 6x minus 1. And then it would be time for the quadratic formula. X is negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4 times a and times c, all divided by 2 times the a. So inside the radical there's a 36, and because of the negative and negative there's 12, so 36 and 12 is 48. Okay, then I will get decimal answers. If you look back over here, because x minus 1 is in the denominator, x equals 1 cannot be a solution, x equals 0 cannot be a solution, and because of this one, x equals negative 1 cannot be a solution. That's just an FYI. I don't think that's going to happen in this case, especially with the square root of 48 in there. Let's see. Negative 6 plus the square root of 48, and then it's divided by a 6. And then do the same thing with subtraction, and we've got our two answers. So x is equal to 0.155 and x is equal to negative 2.155. All right, for the last part, that's just a straightforward quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a and times c, and then 2 times a. And then what's slightly different in this case is that in here we're going to get 9 minus 28. 9 minus 28 is a negative number. And so we get negative 19 inside the radical. That means that it's an imaginary number. The square root of 19 can't be simplified, but then because it's imaginary, we just put I, the square root of 19, it's divided by 2. Nice reviews.